Take a moment and breathe. Let's inhale together and exhale. Let this one simple act ground you, because what you are about to hear may not be easy to face. But it may be one of the most important steps you take toward reclaiming your own life, your own peace, and your own heart. Letting go of someone you cannot stop thinking about is never simple. Emotional attachment often lingers far longer than the relationship itself. Sometimes, even after the physical presence has gone, your mind and heart remain entangled, caught in the cycle of longing, replaying moments that hurt as much as they once delighted. You may not feel weak for holding on. You may have given all you had, your care, your time, your energy. And yet, attachment persists. Stoicism does not ask us to suppress these feelings. It does not tell us to become cold, to deny our emotions, or to discard love entirely. Instead, Stoicism teaches something subtler and far more powerful. It teaches us to understand our emotions, to observe them, to redirect them. It shows us the path to freedom by distinguishing what is within our control from what is not. It shows us that love should never lead to self-destruction, and that attachment, when unbalanced, can blind even the strongest heart. In this guide, we explore 10 Stoic rules inspired by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, each designed to help you disentangle your mind from someone who no longer reciprocates your love, to reclaim your energy, and to redirect your life toward clarity, self-respect, and emotional freedom. Rule 1. Accept what is out of your hands. The first step toward emotional liberation is acceptance, not intellectual acceptance, the kind where you nod and say, "Yes, I understand," but deep, emotional acknowledgement. It is the difference between knowing the truth and letting it settle into your bones. Consider the countless hours your mind may have spent replaying old conversations, questioning every word, every gesture, every choice. The theater of regrets becomes familiar, almost comforting in its predictability, yet profoundly destructive. Stoicism reminds us you have power over your mind, not over outside events. You cannot rewrite another person's feelings, their choices, or their actions. To attempt it is to grasp at a rope that burns your hands, tightening only to inflict further pain. Acceptance begins the moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable. To accept is not to resign. It is to release the weight that you have been carrying, consciously or unconsciously, for far too long. To accept is to recognize that clinging to what was never yours to keep serves no one, not them, not the relationship, and most importantly, not you. The act of letting go, contrary to popular belief, is not giving up. It is the first step in taking back your power. Ask yourself, why am I still trying to control what is not mine? Is it fear of loneliness, a sense of inadequacy, or the illusion that closure will finally bring peace? Every answer points to one truth. Your attachment is no longer about love. It is about the self you have forgotten in the process. Acceptance, therefore, is not about them. It is about reclaiming yourself. Rule 2. Stop romanticizing the past. Memory is treacherous. After someone leaves, our minds often polish the past, highlight the laughter, the connection, the fleeting moments of joy, and erase the distance, the silence, the hurtful episodes. We become enamored with the idea of who they were, rather than who they truly were. This is one of the greatest traps of attachment. We are not in love with the person anymore, but with the carefully curated version of them that exists in memory. Stoicism teaches us to see things as they are, not as we wish them to be. Epictetus reminds us that it is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Romanticizing the past is a reaction, not a recognition. It is pouring energy into a ghost, a construct that no longer exists and never could satisfy the reality of who they were. Letting go requires honesty. Ask yourself, am I clinging to them or to a fantasy that my mind has crafted? Am I mourning a person or the comfort of familiarity, the fear of starting over? the version of myself that existed while I was with them. When you confront this truth, you create space for clarity, for growth, and for real love. Love that can exist without illusion. Rule 3. Create distance to regain clarity. Distance is not indifference, it is preservation. Emotional proximity in the midst of raw pain is like trying to dry clothes in the rain. You will never feel relief if you continue to stand where the storm pours. Stoicism emphasizes separation, not only from people but from the impulses, illusions, and attachments that cloud our judgment. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You must build up your life action by action, and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. But you can't take action if your mind is orbiting someone else's gravity." Creating distance can take many forms. It may mean stopping the constant checking of social media, putting aside old messages, and resisting the urge to know every detail of their life. These actions are not about punishing yourself or them. They are about reclaiming the space in your mind that they have occupied, sometimes unconsciously, for months or years. Distance allows you to see the dynamics clearly, to observe the ways you compromised your values, and to remember the self that existed before attachment blurred your boundaries. It creates the conditions necessary for emotional maturity and for reconnecting with your own priorities. Rule 4. Master your reactions, not their behavior. Much of human suffering is self-inflicted. We obsess over the actions of others, why they pull away, why they act cold, why they were once warm and now distant. The Stoics remind us, it is not the actions of others that disturb us, but our judgments about those actions. You cannot control how someone treats you. You cannot dictate their feelings or their choices, but you can control your response. Emotional freedom lies here, in choosing dignity over desperation, self-respect over validation. When someone ignores you, when their attention fades, when their presence no longer aligns with your desires, the Stoic approach is to observe, breathe, and respond with clarity rather than react with panic. Your peace and self-worth are untouchable when anchored in your own principles rather than in the behavior of someone else. This mastery is not numbness. It is not denial. It is deliberate action. It is the ability to experience emotion without being consumed by it, to honor your feelings while refusing to allow them to dictate your choices. Rule 5. Redefine love as something you give, not something you chase. Much of our pain arises from misunderstanding the nature of love. Society teaches us that love is something to be received, validated, or earned through another person's attention. When that love is withdrawn, it feels catastrophic, as if we have lost a piece of our very identity. Stoicism shifts the perspective. Real love is not transactional. It is a reflection of virtue, integrity, and alignment with one's own values. The Stoics wrote little about romantic love as we conceive it today, but their insights illuminate the path. Love is an expression of who you are, not a dependency on what someone else gives you. When you love someone who does not reciprocate, Stoicism teaches that the value lies in the giving itself, not in the outcome. Love offered without attachment does not vanish. It enriches the giver. Letting go, then, is not the loss of love, but the affirmation of its integrity. By continuing to act in accordance with your principles, even in the absence of reciprocation, you honor yourself, not the object of your desire. Rule 6. Don't confuse pain with connection. After a breakup, pain can masquerade as love. The ache in your chest, the longing in your mind, the sleepless nights, they may feel like evidence of connection, but often they are evidence of resistance. Pain in itself is not proof that the bond was sacred or that the relationship was essential to your existence. Pain is evidence that your mind is unwilling to release the story it has been telling itself. Stoicism teaches that suffering is not caused by events, but by our interpretation of them. Ask yourself, am I attached to them, or am I attached to the pain, the familiar ache that has defined my emotional landscape for so long? Healing begins the moment you disentangle love from suffering, reality from illusion, self-worth from longing. Rule 7. Focus on who you're becoming, not who you've lost. Grief after separation is not only for the person who left, it is for the version of yourself that existed with them. In the fog of loss, it is easy to live in reverse, to obsess over what was, and to forget what can be. Stoicism emphasizes direction over dwelling. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The same applies to life after loss. Don't spend your time wondering what the relationship could have been. Spend your time becoming someone who no longer needs it. This rule is about action. Reconnect with neglected habits, revisit shelved ambitions, expand your mind, nurture your body, and speak to yourself with the kindness you once gave away. Every small step is a declaration. You are building a life defined by clarity, purpose, and integrity, not by absence, longing, or nostalgia. Rule 8. Protect your peace like it's sacred. Your peace is your most valuable possession. Every unchecked thought about them, every compulsive glance at their life, every hope for reconciliation erodes it. Seneca reminds us, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Protecting your peace may require solitude, silence, boundaries, or even complete disengagement. It is not a punitive act. It is an act of courage and self-respect. The more deliberate you are about guarding your emotional space, the faster your mind stabilizes, the more your life begins to belong to you again. Rule 9. Don't seek closure from someone who couldn't give you clarity. Closure is a human desire, but it is rarely granted. Often, closure is an internal act, not an external conversation. Waiting for explanations, apologies, or confessions from someone incapable of giving them is futile. Stoicism teaches that your response is all that matters. Acceptance, self-reflection, and a conscious decision to move forward provide the closure your heart needs. The moment you internalize this truth, the power shifts from them to you. The story ends not with their words, but with your wisdom, your growth, and your renewed sense of self. Rule 10. Choose freedom over fantasy. Perhaps the hardest part of letting go is confronting the truth. Often we cling not to what existed, but to what we hoped would exist. We chase a fantasy rather than a person, a possibility rather than reality. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to live in accordance with nature, with reality as it is. Emotional detachment requires courage. The courage to face the truth, to accept their absence, and to stop pausing your life in the hope that what never was might somehow appear. Freedom is found in release. It is found in reality, not in imagination. By relinquishing fantasy, you reclaim time, energy, clarity, and power. You can no longer waste life waiting for someone who will not return, and instead, you step fully into the life that awaits you. Conclusion. Letting go is never simple. It is never painless. Yet it is the act of courage, clarity, and self-respect. Stoicism does not ask us to discard emotion. It asks us to direct it, to observe it, and to channel it toward growth, strength, and freedom. The 10 rules we have explored: accepting what is beyond your control, stopping romanticization, creating distance, mastering reactions, redefining love, distinguishing pain from connection, focusing on who you are becoming, protecting your peace, internalizing closure, and choosing freedom over fantasy are tools for reclaiming your life. You are not broken. You are becoming. Every moment you choose clarity over illusion, presence over longing, truth over fantasy, you rise. You are not waiting for them to return. You are returning to yourself. This is your turning point. This is your freedom.